Hello, hello! Pete's Pax here, and we're back with the third Commander Legends Dungeons & Dragons Battle for Baldur's Gate Commander deck. This one is Blue-Black Mind FlaYARRRS. Yarr! It's obviously a pirate-themed deck, so let's see what treasures await us. Yarp, mateys. Oh, I love pirates. So, as with previous iterations of the commander decks, this comes with 9 counters and a divider for in the deck box. No. Oh crap! I just knocked over my lights. No. Oh, come on. Okay, let's fix that light. Okay, I just bumped and knocked over my lights. Also comes with a theme deck box with the picture of the face commander, the set stuff for D&D things, and the colors for the deck. Also comes with a divider that is recyclable. Please be kind and recycle. And we have a themed, double-sided spin down life counter for Commander. It goes from 0 to 40. And insert the deck itself and a collector booster sample pack. So we will be opening those in their own video. So I will have 16 at the end of this. All right. Now for the insert itself, we have Mind FlaYARRRS playing the deck. Little blurb on it, the overview of the rules of Commander, nice little portrait of our face commander, and then a blurb about the face commander, another little portrait of him, ad for Friday Night Magic, and another for Secret Lair. Alright, so let's get into this deck. This is Blue-Black Mind FlaYARRRS. Alright. The quick release tab. To free our deck from its plasticky prison. We have Captain Ngathred. So 3 blue and a black. Let's see if we can get that to lighten up a little bit. There we go. 3 blue and a black for a 3/6 legendary horror pirate. Horrors you control have menace. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. At the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact or creature card in an opponent's graveyard that was put there from their library this turn. Put it onto the battlefield under your control. So you've got a hybrid kind of stompy and reanimator strategy here, along with a mill strategy, which is very nice. Next we have the secondary commander we have is Zelix Sanity Flayer. 2 and a blue for 2/3 legendary horror with Hive Mind. Whenever a player mills 1 or more creature cards, you create a 1/1 black horror creature token. And then 1 and tap it, target player mills 3 cards, and you choose a background. And the background that comes with this one is Haunted One. 2 and a black for a legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, it and other creatures you control that share a creature type with it each get +2/+0 and gain Undying until end of turn. So Undying is the one where if it has no +1/+1 counters on it, when it dies, it you return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Alright, then we have Arcane Signet. We all know what that does by now. The mana rock for your commander's colors that costs 2. We have Mind Stone, 2 mana artifact, tap for colorless. 1, tap and sacrifice it, draw a card. Command Tower, it's in every commander deck. Taps for 1 of your commander's color identity. Buff, 3 and a blue, instant, reveal the top 5 of your library. An opponent separates them into 2 piles, put 1 into your hand and the other in your graveyard. Dothy Horror, oh, this is a throwback. This was originally in Tempest, but it's 1 and a black for 2/1 Dothy Horror with Shadow. If you're an old fart like me, you probably really enjoy Shadow. It was a mechanic that I very much loved. And Dothy Horror can't be blocked by white creatures. Now keep in mind, those white creatures would also have to have Shadow. Which there was a series of creatures that had Shadow as well. You had the Dothy and I forget what the white ones were. I want to say Sortami, but I know that's not right. If you happen to know and mention it down in the comments, they were. It was generally the blue and the white ones were one set, and then you had the black ones were the Dothy. And yeah, I don't remember. We have Duskmangler, 5 black for 5/4 horror. And in addition to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, discard a card, or pay 4 life. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature, discards a card, and loses 4 life. We have Feed the Swarm, one of the few ways in black to destroy enchantments. 1 and a black sorcery, destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to the permanent's mana value. Phyrexian Rager, 2 and a black for 2/2 Phyrexian Horror. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and lose life. This is a limited all-star. It's almost always good. We have Plague Spitter, 2 and a black for 2/2 Phyrexian Horror. It looks like a giant piggy. It's the crop dusting pig. At the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 1 damage to each creature and player. When it dies, it deals 1 damage to each creature and player. Ravenous Chupacabra, aka the Choops Magoots. 2 black for 2/2 Beast Horror. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature and opponent controls. This is the strictly better Necrotol. Although I think Necrotol also has First Strike. It's been long enough since I saw Necrotol that I can't actually remember. Siphon Mind, 3 and a black, sorcery. Each other player discards a card. You draw a card for each card discarded this way. One of the few interesting draw mechanics in black. Drown in the Loch. Blue and a black instant. Choose 1. Counter target spell with mana value less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Or destroy target creature with mana value less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Extract from Darkness, 3 blue and a black for sorcery. Each player mills 2 cards. Then you put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Nice thing about this is it doesn't target, also. So it gets around a lot of interesting protection mechanics. Dimir Keyrune, it is the key rune for blue-black. It's a 3 mana artifact, taps for a blue or black, and then for a blue and a black, it becomes a 2/2 blue and black horror artifact creature until end of turn and can't be blocked. This turn. Dimir Signet, the blue-black Signet. 2 mana artifact, filters 1 into blue-black. Everflowing Chalice, 0 mana artifact with multi-kicker 2. When it enters the battlefield, it enters the battlefield with a charge counter on it for each time it was kicked, and then you can tap it for a colorless for each charge counter on it. Herald's Horn, 3 mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creature spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Good old Lightning Greaves. We should all know what this is, but in case you don't, 2 mana equipment, or 2 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature has haste and shroud and has equip for 0. Mind Crank. 2-mana artifact. Whenever an opponent loses life, that player mills that many cards. Damage causes loss of life. Soul Ring. We should all know what this does by now, but 1-mana artifact taps for 2. Talisman of Dominance. The blue-black talisman. 2-mana artifact taps for colorless, and then you can tap for a blue or a black, and it deals 1 damage to you. Thought Vessel. 2-mana artifact. You have no maximum hand size, and taps for colorless. Ash Barrens. I love that Ash Barrens is in every one of these decks, because I use so many of these in Pauper that this is going to be really nice. But it's a non-basic land, taps for colorless, and it has basic land cycling for 1. Mere Aqueduct. It's the blue-black Karu land. Enters the battlefield tapped, and enters, you return a land to its owner's hand, and taps for a blue and a black. So kind of ramp, kind of not. We have Myriad Landscape. Enters the battlefield tapped, taps for colorless. 2, tap and sacrifice it. Search your library for 2 basic lands that share a land type. Put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Path of Ancestry. Enters tapped. Taps for your commander's color identity. If that mana is used to cast a creature that shares a type with your commander, a creature type with your commander, you scry 1. Court of Karfell. This is from Kaldheim. Enters the battlefield tapped, taps for a blue, and then 3 blue, black, black. Sacrifice it. Tap and sacrifice it, rather. Mill 4 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This was fantastic in Kaldheim Limited. Aboleth Spawn. 2 and a blue for 2/3 Fish Horror with Flash. Ward 2. Probing Telepathy. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, entering the battlefield under an opponent's control causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger. You may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for that copy. So this is really nice for like flipping the script on someone like flashing in Solitude or any number of other things, and it sits on the battlefield and persists. So it's really nice for cloning off effects from your opponents. Endless Evil. 2 and a blue, enchantment aura. Enchant creature you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted creature, except the token is 1/1. When enchanted creature dies, if that creature was a horror, return Endless Evil to its owner's hand. Grell Philosopher. 2 and a blue for a 1/4 horror wizard with aberrant tinkering. When it enters the battlefield, and at the beginning of your upkeep, each horror you control gains all activated abilities of target artifact and opponent controls until end of turn. You may spend blue mana as though it were mana of any color to activate those abilities. This can go infinite with a lot of things. Psionic Ritual. 4 blue sorcery with Replicate, tap an untapped horror you control. Exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. Exile Psionic Ritual. So this can get really nasty really fast. Especially if you have a bunch of horrors in play, you can just copy all kinds of stuff. It's great when facing against like Spellslinger decks. Brainstealer Dragon. 5 black for 6/6 dragon horror with flying. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of each opponent's library. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. Whenever a non-land permanent an opponent owns enters the battlefield under your control, they lose life equal to its mana value. Wow. That's pretty powerful. From the Catacombs. 3 black sorcery. Put target creature card from a graveyard under the battlefield under your control with a corpse counter on it. You take the initiative. If that creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. And then escape. 3 black, exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. I wonder, I guess that's a little overcosted to be in Legacy. Unchulion. Uchulion? It's a hard name to say. 3 and a black for an X4. Crab Ooze Horror. Its power is equal to the number of crabs, oozes, and or horrors you control. Horrific Symbiosis. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to one target creature card from an opponent's graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of this. Chasm Skulker, 2 and a blue for a 1/1 Squid Horror. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Chasm Skulker. When it dies, create X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Chasm Skulker. They can't be blocked as... Oh, it's explaining Island Walk. Forgotten Creation, 3 and a blue for a 3/3 zombie horror with Skulk. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard all the cards in your hand. If you do, draw that many cards. Fractured Sanity. Blue, 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 sorcery. Each opponent mills 14 cards. Cycling, 1 and a blue. When you cycle it, each opponent mills 4 cards. So that shows up in Modern Mill every now and then. I believe it's Modern Mill. Brazilex, Ithilid Scholar. 1 blue, blue for a 2/3 legendary horror. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. Whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Hullbreaker Horror. This is actually still in Standard, which I really enjoy this card in Standard. 5 blue, blue for a 7/8 Kraken Horror with Flash. This spell can't be countered. Whenever you cast a spell, choose up to 1. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand, or return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. It's nice because it can actually protect itself with the second ability. Leyline of Anticipation. Wow, this is a fun one. 2 blue, blue enchantment. If it is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. You may cast spells as though they had flash. Mind Flayer. 3 blue, blue. For 3/3 horror with Dominate Monster. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Mind Flayer. The only real bonus I see for this over over Sower of Temptation. Gosh, I could not remember the name for a second there. Is that this is a horror and is a 3/3 instead of a 2/2. I think it's 2/2. Might be a 1/1. Overcharged Amalgam. This is also still in Standard at the moment. 2 blue, blue for a 3/3 zombie horror with Flash, Flying, and Exploit. When it exploits a creature, counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. Pull from Tomorrow. X blue, blue, instant. Draw X cards, then discard a card. Reflections of Lityara. 4 and a blue, enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. Which is very, very nice, especially with some of the abilities in this. Sludge Monster, 3 blue, blue for 5/5 horror. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, put a slime counter on up to 1 other target creature. Non-horror creatures with slime counters on them lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 2/2. Now, there are 2 other slimes that I can think of, or 2 other things that hand out slime tokens that I can think of. One of them is Toxrill, and there's another black card that also does it. So this, along with those, can be very powerful. I think this is actually in Standard also. Pretty sure that's from Crimson Vow or Midnight Hunt. Wharf Infiltrator, 1 and a blue for a 1/1 human horror with Skulk. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Whenever you discard a creature card, you pay 2. If you do, create a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature token. This was from Shadows over Innistrad, if I remember correctly. Black Market. 3 black, black, enchantment. Whenever a creature dies, put a charge counter on Black Market. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add a black for each charge counter on Black Market. Very nice, along with board wipes. I wonder, I doubt Damnation is in here, but Damnation would be a fantastic upgrade for this deck. Crippling Fear, 2 black, black, sorcery. Choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't of the chosen type get -3/-3 until end of turn. Curtain's Call, 5 and a black, instant with Undaunted. It's cost 1 less for each opponent. So in most Commander games, this will be 2 and a black. Destroy 2 target creatures. Dark Hatchling, 4 black for a 3/3 horror with flying. Whenever it enters the battlefield, destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. Dross Harvester, 1 black for 4/4 horror. Protection from white. At the beginning of your end step, you lose 4 life. Whenever a creature dies, you gain 2 life. So that was originally from Mirrodin, I think. Might have been Darksteel or Fifth Dawn. I think it was Mirrodin, though. Guilt Feeder, 3 black for a 0/4 horror with fear. Whenever it attacks and isn't blocked, defending player loses 1 life for each card in their graveyard. It's very strong, along with all of our mill effects. Hex, this was originally in Ravnica. Downside to this card is it doesn't work unless there are 6 things to target. And if any of those targets become invalid, the spell is countered. But 4 black sorcery, destroy 6 target creatures. Hunted Horror, also from Ravnica, City of Guilds, the first Ravnica. Black for a 7/7 horror with trample. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 2 3/3 green centaur creature tokens with protection from black. In Garruk's Wake, 7 black sorcery, destroy all creatures you don't control and all planeswalkers you don't control. Night Howler, this is from Journey into Nyx, if I remember correctly. 1 black for a 0/0 enchantment creature horror with bestow, 2 black. Enchanted creature, Night Howler and enchanted creature each get +X/+X, where X is the number of creature cards in all graveyards. So basically is a Lurgoyf. Was it Lurgoyf? No, there was a black version of Lurgoyf later on in Odyssey, I think. I don't remember its name. But also it gives the ability to a creature with bestow. Nihilith, 4 black for 4/4 horror with fear. Suspend 7 for 1 and a black. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, if Nihilith is suspended, you may remove a time counter from Nihilith. So, very nice with the ability to mill, so you can power it out very quickly. Sewer Nemesis, 3 and a black for an XX horror. When it enters the battlefield, choose a player. Sewer Nemesis's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in chosen player's graveyard. Whenever the chosen player casts a spell, that player mills a card. Woe Strider, this was from Theros Beyond Death, if I remember correctly. 2 and a black for a 3/2 horror. When it enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 white goat creature token. Sacrifice another creature, scry 1. Escape, 3 black. Exile 4 other cards from your graveyard, and when it escapes, it comes into play with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Consuming Aberration, 3 blue-black for an XX horror. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards on your opponent's graveyard. Whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals a card from the top of their library until they reveal a land card, then puts those cards into their graveyard. This can be a win condition on its own. Memory Plunder. Hybrid blue-black, hybrid blue-black, hybrid blue-black, hybrid blue-black. Instant. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost. Nemesis of Reason. 3 blue-black for a 3/7 Leviathan horror. Whenever it attacks, defending player mills 10 cards. Phyrexian Revoker. Oh, this is a great one. I didn't realize this was in here. 2 mana artifact creature, or 2 mana 2/1 artifact creature Phyrexian Horror. When it enters the battlefield, choose a non-land card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated. Keep in mind this also shuts off mana abilities. So, like this would shut off Raphalos or Llanowar Elves, things like that. Psychosis Crawler, 5 mana XX artifact creature Phyrexian Horror. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. Spellskite. Wow, this has some really fantastic utility creatures. Although Spellskite has largely fallen out of favor in the last few years, this used to be an auto-include in every modern sideboard. Granted, that fell off significantly when Splinter Twin left the format, but it is what it is. 2 mana, 0/4 artifact creature, Phyrexian Horror. For a Phyrexian blue, change target spell or ability to Spellskite. Change a target of target spell or ability to Spellskite. Choked Estuary. Enters battlefield tapped, or unless you reveal an island or swamp from your hand. Creeping Tar Pit. It's the blue-black manland from either Worldwake or Zendikar, the original Zendikar. Enters the battlefield tapped, taps for a blue or a black, and then 3 blue and a black, or sorry, not 3 blue, 1 blue and a black. It becomes a 3/2 blue and black elemental creature token until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. It's still a land. Darkwater Catacombs filters a generic into blue-black. Groundyard Temple taps for colorless, and then for 3 mana, you can return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Exotic Orchard taps for 1 of any color a land an opponent controls could produce. Nephalia Drownyard. This used to be a win condition in our control decks way back in the first Innistrad block. I can't remember if this was in Innistrad or Dark Ascension or Avacyn's Hope, but it was in one of the 3, and this was in every deck that had both blue and black, that I played at least, at the time. Taps for a colorless, and then a blue and a black. Target player mills 3 cards. River of Tears. This was originally in Future Sight. I don't know that they ever completed the cycle for this one. Taps for blue. If you played a land this turn, instead you add black instead. So if you haven't played a land yet, it taps for a blue. If you played a land this turn, it taps for a black. Sunken Hollow. This is the buddy duel for Island and Swamp. Temple of Deceit, blue-black temple. Rogue's Passage taps for colorless, and then 4 mana, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Tainted Isle, it's the blue tainted land. Taps for colorless, or you can tap for a blue or a black if you control a swamp. Temple of the False Gods taps for 2 colorless. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. Then we get some islands. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 islands, all of which are really cool. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 swamps. We've got our extra thick stand card for our face commander, Captain Nagathrud. We have the initiative with Undercity on the back. Nice. We have 4 squid tokens with Island Walk. They're all 1/1s. Then we have 4 copy tokens on the back of those. Squid Launcher. Then we have a 1/1 horror, which we have 5 of those. Looks like we only get 10 tokens in this. And then 3 of them are Eldrazi horrors, and then the back of 2 of them are the centaurs for haunted horror. Then the turn reminder and popular formats reminder for commander. And that is Mind FlaYARRRS. I was expecting more of a piratey theme, to be honest. A little surprised by some of the things that weren't in there, which would be good upgrade paths. So, like, some things that you'd consider would be like Pitiless Plunderer, a Hostage Taker, stuff like that. You want to go more the pirate theme, or you can lean more into the horrors theme. I think I noted a few in here. There also appears to be a mill sub-theme in this, so something you may want to consider would be like including like Mesmeric Orb, or the crabs, the one from Zendikar and the one from the more recent set, Rise of Zendikar. So like Hedron Crab and whatever the other one is. Let's see. Along with that, you'd want to consider like Haunting Echoes, potentially, if you want to lean more into the mill sub-theme. But overall, really cool deck, a lot of flavor in it, and has a lot of really cool pathways to upgrade. So, good one to consider out. But thank you for joining me on this adventure in the Forgotten Realms, to Baldur's Gate, in fact. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel in a non-monetary fashion. If you'd like to also help out in a monetary fashion, we do have a Patreon. It is linked in the About page, which gives you access to some really cool stuff, like our members-only Discord channels, and a whole bunch of other stuff, like higher-end coaching sessions, and you can sponsor videos, all kinds of stuff like that. So, but as always, until next time, stay awesome, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.